This is a segment we are calling Tweak or Seek.
Seek.
Okay, so we're going to just pick a few teams here, and we're going to talk about if they're just a small tweak away from experiencing some legit success, or if they need to go seeking maybe some new players to their roster, or, I mean, however you really want to take the question. So let's start with Minnesota. I mean, 2-1 to start the season is not bad. The power play is dreadful, but
yes, it is.
Aside from that, how do you see Minnie?
I'm going to go with tweak for Minnesota because I think they still have a couple of different things in place that are really good. I mean, they've got good defensive group. They've got enough guys that can score. But I think if they could find a center, like a really, and these are not easy things to find, but, Pierre-Luc Dubois might be on the market. I mean, if they could somehow get him into Minnesota, that might make a huge difference for this group. So, I think I'm ready to say tweak for Minnesota, Rupper.
Yeah, when we look at all these teams, the teams that are a tweak are that team these are bubble teams, right? And I think the Minnesota Wild are one little tweak away from really grabbing that fourth spot in the West. So I'm going to say tweak as well. And my tweak's a little bit different as far as it's not going to be as big of a splash, but their center ice position, we're on the same wavelength with that, needs a little upgrade. So I think this is a team that needs to have, I think Derek Stepan would be a nice add to that team. A Minnesota guy come in there, that's a deal that you can make. He's a pending UFA, not going to cost you a lot, low risk, maybe high reward. So that's the move I like.
All right, next team up. You okay, H?
I'm okay.
Okay, just making sure.
I may need to seek some water. We'll see. Okay, I'll let you know.
How about the Yotes, the Arizona Coyotes, in the midst of a 4-game series, basically, with the Vegas Golden Knights? They dropped the first game despite having a lead. What do you make of the Yotes? Seek or tweak? Tweak or seek?
I'm going to say seek. I think this is a team that I just don't, I don't know, I don't find them to be, what happened last year is they had a lot of good things happening in their favor. And I just don't find them on paper, and I know that that's no hockey games are won on paper, that they're not as good of a team this year. And we got Oliver Ekman-Larsson out now, the captain. So for me, this is just an underwhelming lineup, if I'm going to be frank. So I just think that what we saw last year, they rely so heavily on their goaltending and their goals against to be very low. I just don't see enough goals in this group, so I'm going to say seek.
You're winning me over with your argument, I have to say. I mean, I ended up saying tweak on this one just because I think that group of defensemen is really still a pretty good group. Now, they are missing Ekman-Larsson right now. They got to hope they can get him back, and their goalie is really solid. So I'll stick with tweak, but the tweak they need really is the younger players they have, the Kellers and some of these other younger guys, to really step up and get to that next level. And we have to see it. We haven't really seen it. I love those guys, but they have to find the next level.
They're going to be in that hunt, and that's the tough thing to decide. Do we make a move?
Yeah, they're in an odd spot, right?
They're right in that weird spot.
And with a new general manager there as well, because all these guys were acquired or drafted by the previous administration. So what Bill Armstrong thinks of these guys is now going to matter. So I'll be very interested to see what they continue to do dependent upon how the season goes.
All right, how about the Anaheim Ducks? Interesting team here. Tweak or seek?
I'm a seek on the Anaheim Ducks, and the only thing they really need to seek is time. Because they have really some talented young players. We got to see Trevor Zegras in the World Junior Championships. He was just lights out good for Team USA. We might see him at some point this season for that team. Mike talked about it earlier. They've got, kids like Comtois and Steele who are, impressive young players that, where are they going to be in another 12 months, 18 months, 24 months? So I think it's just a matter of time for the Anaheim Ducks. They still have some other good veteran players there, too, when you think of a Hampus Lindholm and a Cam Fowler. So these are some pretty good players as well. So I just think they need time. It's not just one tweak. It's a seek situation for me.
Yeah, I'm going to say seek as well because I just don't think that they're with the trajectory of where this team's going to be with their youth. I mean, great pipeline, kind of pushing up underneath for this team. It's just not the time to make a move right now, I don't believe. Just see what you got. Let them grow. Let them go through the struggles. Let them feel the highs. And I think that's what they'll end up doing here.
All right, how about the Edmonton Oilers? They got McDavid. They got Draisaitl. They're a team that has had high expectations now for a few years to really start taking some big steps. So are they just a tweak or two away, or are we seeking with the Oilers?
You know what? Through the first few games, it makes me feel like there's a lot more than a tweak needed, but it's still early in this young season. But they still need secondary scoring. They need help. They need help, and they need some intangibles in their lineup. So I'm going to say they're a tweak because I think a guy that they can add, and I don't know what you think about this, Eej, if they're able to get another pending UFA in Kyle Palmieri, I think that'd be a perfect fit. This guy can score goals. He can play. I mean, think about it. If Kyle Palmieri, he's been an effective player for the New Jersey Devils the last few years, and his career is, as far as goal scoring has really jumped to a nice level. What would happen if he had 29 Draisaitl or 97 McDavid in the middle? So I think that we always have this rotating winger up there. If the Edmonton Oilers can find a goal-scoring guy, and these aren't easy, but he's a pending UFA.
That's right.
So you get the guy at a good cost to a team that we're probably projecting from the New Jersey Devils not being in the playoffs. I'd like to see that move.
Yeah, I like Kyle Palmieri a lot, so I think he can help a lot of teams. I know the Boston Bruins have been looking for that player. He could be a guy that could help them. But for me, I'm the seek on the Edmonton Oilers. I mean, they have not figured out the goalie situation, and it doesn't look like they're going to figure it out. I mean, they've got the one kid in there. He's 32 years of age, too, when you think about it. Koskinen, he's not a baby. So then you got Mike Smith, who's hurt right now. We've got other guys. Mike Johnson talked about it at the top of the show.
Scott Skinner, I believe his name
good
was.
luck. Good luck, Scott. I mean, listen, you never know, right? Jordan Binnington kind of came out of nowhere. So maybe they'll have somebody that comes out of nowhere for them and can become a goalie for them. But they're still, to me, light on defense. Oscar Klefbom is out of the picture. He's hurt. We don't even know if he's going to play again. They do have kids like Broberg and Bouchard that are in their system that are going to be part of that team down the road, and we think they're going to be good defenders. And then up front, it's kind of still a little bit top-heavy with everything's got to be McDavid and Draisaitl or it doesn't work for them, right? So for me, they're still, I think, several moves away from being a consistently strong team. And they don't, like I say, you don't have any answers in goal. That's a bad place for it to start. They tried to get Markstrom. It didn't work for them. Seek.
All right. Well, speaking of the former Canuck, let's talk about the Vancouver Canucks. We got time for one more. Vancouver, for me, they've been a little underwhelming to start the season, which,
by Canucks.
They're so exciting. They got such great young talent on the team. But what do you think, Rupper? Tweak or seek for the Nucks?
I'm going to say tweak because this is a big tweak, and this is one that you mentioned earlier. I think everybody's going to be in the Pierre-Luc Dubois sweepstakes as far as just contacting Jarmo Kekalainen and finding out what it's going to cost. And I think that this team in Vancouver got some pieces that they could move to do it. I just can't even imagine what a big, rangy, mean centerman he could be in the Vancouver organization with that already loaded group of young players. So I don't know. That might be a little bit of a stretch, a little bit of a dream scenario.
It is. For a lot of teams, it's a dream, I can tell you.
But that's something that I think can help this team get over the hump because, again, all those teams we mentioned are going to be fighting tooth and nail for that last spot because I think in that West, we know we're pretty confident in who those teams are going to be, right? Like you're going to have St. Louis, Colorado, and Vegas are probably going to be 1, 2, 3. And then it's that fourth spot in that division who's going to make the playoffs. Right now, I'm going with the Wild, but I think there's a few teams that can make a tweak.
I think for the Canucks is a tweak. I still like their team. I believe in the Vancouver Canucks. I mean, they had to change some personnel in the offseason, and I think Demko and Holtby will be fine as a duo, but they lose a lot with Markstrom. I mean, when you look into the numbers last year, Markstrom was a difference maker for the Vancouver Canucks night after night after night. So Will Demko be that guy that he was in the postseason when he was just lights out good against the Vegas Golden Knights moving forward? I mean, they drafted him, they developed him, they like him, and they were in a tough spot. Because if they would have re-signed Markstrom, they would basically have to trade Demko. And it would be they would have to kind of remake their goaltending around a long-term contract for a guy who would be 36 at the end of it. They have a lot of talented young players there. I think it's still a tweak here or there. And I think they need some time for the guys that have come into that mix to kind of be part of that group. Like Nate Schmidt is in that group now. Some other guys have come in. Other guys have left. Tanev has left. So I think they need a little more time to figure it out. And this year, they may not have that time in a 56-game schedule in a very difficult North Division with some tough cookies to play against.
You mentioned Tanev, and I couldn't focus on what you're saying the rest of the time. I wonder what his headshot's looking like. Is it different? Chris Tanev's different than
Brandon's? That's right, the brothers.
We got to look this up, see if he's got the crazy eyes going too.
I'm willing to bet no.